Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the home business community. And so today, we're going to be talking about S corporations, okay? Specifically, what does it take to run an S corporation? All right. So, so here's how we got here. I shared a post about business structures over this past weekend, and it sparked a lot of conversation. And there's a lot of misinformation that's out there. And so what I want to do is spend some time this week really talking about business structures, talking about the things that you need to know that's going to influence your decision making when it comes down to choosing a business structure. One of the things that is causing me some grief right now is about S Corps, because I've had several people who are just getting started in business and saying, okay, I'm forming an S Corp. And I simply ask, why? Why are you forming an S Corp? And so the main reason is that I heard I could save on taxes. So with today's broadcast, I'm going to really be talking about the S Corp, what it takes, and why you might not just want to go jump in all head first with an S Corp. So an S Corp, the S is a subchapter C. Okay. That's what the S stands for. And what that means is this is a domestic corporation. So a few of the things that you have to consider with an S Corp is that you can have max 100 shareholders, and they all have to be U.S. citizens. Now, a husband and wife count as one shareholder. But here's the thing. If you have an S Corp and your spouse is not a U.S. citizen, you can't have an S Corp. You're going to be a C corporation. Okay. So, understand that even if you are single when you form an S Corp and then you go and marry someone who is not a U.S. citizen, that totally invalidates your S Corp, and you're going to have to go become a C Corp or something else. Okay. So that's the first thing. And believe you me, you guys, you have no idea how that catches some people by surprise. Okay. With this whole S Corp thing. All right. Moving on. So then the next thing is the understanding that when you are an S Corp, as the owner, you are an employee of the company. That means that you have to pay yourself a regular salary. You have to withhold employment taxes. You have to issue yourself a W-2 every year. A lot of people don't know that. Again, they just hear, oh, we can save on taxes, so I'm just going to become an S Corp, and not understanding what the requirements are. And so this is one of them. And so you have to remit employment taxes to the government every month. You have to file quarterly employment taxes. Okay. These are the things that you have to do administratively as an S corporation. Even if it's just you, that's just the way it is. So understanding the administrative part of the S corporation is really important, because as a business owner, you don't have time to be keeping the books, doing the payroll, submitting the employment taxes, and you don't have time for all of that. So if you don't have the income to support outsourcing this or hiring someone on your staff to manage this, this is not something that you need to do. This is why I ask people, what kind of income are you generating before you go jump into the S Corp all willy-nilly? Now, most people hear, okay, with an S Corp, it's saving on that 15.3% self-employment tax. You got to kind of weigh all of the pros and cons, because you might be saving on that 15.3% self-employment tax, but you're going to be paying it anyway in the way of FICA. So if, so 15.3% self-employment tax and FICA, you still paying these taxes. Okay. But that's at the federal level. What most people don't consider is the state requirements, okay? Because every state has its own requirements. We got 50 states and 50 different requirements for different types of business structures. And let me give you an example. So in the state of Massachusetts, if you have an S Corp, you have a minimum franchise tax due of $456 a year. It doesn't matter if you make money or not. It's $456. I do believe California is $800 a year, regardless of whether or not you make money. So when you're first starting out, An S Corp may not make sense for you. You really need to get started making some money first. So, people like, I'm a sole proprietor and oh my gosh, no. Starting out as a sole proprietor is okay until you figure some stuff out and make some money, because all of the other administrative requirements that go along with different business structures, you may not have the time, the energy, or the hands to do. And then if you're not making any money, then you can't outsource it. So now you're stuck in a spot where you have a business structure that you can't legally maintain. And then you're getting yourself in trouble with your state, especially. Like, I have to tell people, states will come for you more quickly and with sharper teeth than the feds. Okay. That's just the way it is. And that's by and large. Of course, there are other types of situations, but just know that on a regular day, the state will come for you faster and with more teeth than the feds. So when it comes down to choosing your business structure, it is really not a one size fits all. You have to weigh all sorts of options, because it might make sense for you to have an S Corp and you're in this state, and in another state, it might not make sense for you. So you got to actually do the research to say, okay, this is the best structure for me at this time. These are the pros and cons. This is how I'm going to manage this, right? Because as the business owner, you don't have time to do the front end and the back end. Because see, what I see is too many people getting street committee tax advice, taking it and trying to run with it, and then winding up in trouble, not paying for the consultations that you really need to find out what's going to be best for you. You can go on the internet and find evidence to support anything that you want to do. It doesn't mean that it's the right thing for you. And especially when it comes to S Corps, because once you get into an S Corp, if you decide, okay, maybe this isn't what I want to do right now, here's the thing. Once you rescind an S Corp, once you send a letter to the IRS and said, you know what? I don't want to be an S Corp anymore. Then you cannot become an S Corp again for 5 years. Unless you start something completely new. So this is why you want to take the time to count the costs and understand what is administratively required in all of these different types of business structures before you go making the leap based on this little tidbit that you heard that sounded good to you. Your federal taxes are not the only thing to consider. Federal taxes is what is shared the most, because federal taxes, that's nationwide. But unless you really know what's going on in your state, and there's 50 different states, 50 different sets of rules. If you don't know what's going on in your state, the Fed part is just half the battle. All of the administrative stuff that has to do with S Corp is really going to be at the state level. Now, that's the great thing about, having, about having someone on your staff. Okay. Having someone that you can call that can do this research for you. I had somebody ask, this is a great question. Awesome. So I got asked, can't you simply send yourself a 1099 rather than taking out taxes and doing FICA deductions and filings? No, that is not the rule. The rule for having an S Corp is that you, the owner, are an employee of the company. That's the rule. You can pay other people on a 1099, but the rule is that you, the owner, are an employee of the company. And this is where people get themselves in trouble thinking, oh, we'll just take the easy way out. No. Because see, here's what you also have to know. There's this thing called the trust fund recovery penalty. Trust fund, it sounds really cute, but what that is that the IRS goes for business owners who do not pay employment taxes. And what that means is, sometimes when you have employees, there are business owners that actually withhold the taxes, but don't send the taxes to the government. Or you don't withhold the taxes at all. That is employment tax evasion, which is illegal. Okay. And what they do, this is called trust fund recovery. And they will go and come for you and to collect those employment taxes. And understand, even if your S Corp does not turn a profit overall, you can still be liable for employment taxes because you, being an employee of the company, you have to pay yourself. It's not an option. So if you don't have enough money to pay yourself regularly a set salary, then you need to not have an S corporation. Having a single member LLC is fine. And that's the beauty of LLCs, because an LLC allows you the flexibility to start out as a sole proprietor, to elect S corporation or C corporation treatment. But understand that when you make these elections, that you have to abide by the rules of that election. If you elect S corporation treatment, then you have to abide by the rules of the S corporation. If you elect C corporation treatment, you have to abide by the rules. And most people ask me, well, what if I don't get caught? If you want to take that chance, boo, go right ahead. I'm here to tell you what the rules are so that you can follow them. If you choose not to, your blood is not on my hands. I'm telling you what you need to do. So this is why you need to consult with somebody before you go making this type of decision, because there's so much more involved. It's not just a simple question. It's everything. It's how much money you're making. What are your expenses? Even for an S Corp. Now the S Corp itself does not pay taxes. Okay. It's really an information return because your profits or losses are passed through to your personal return. Okay. But that's why the states have, they call them franchise fees. They call them franchise taxes. There's business privilege taxes. It's all dressed up. Okay. But what it is a check that you got to write to the state to maintain your business in that particular structure. Okay. Okay. Pat asked, I may have missed this. Is it proper to file the business designation? I don't understand what that means, Pat, when you say that. So let me know, exactly what that means. So, so when you're looking at business structure and should you change and everything, that's absolutely something that you should be doing as a business owner when you're looking at what your tax bill is and you're saying, okay, this might be too much. Perhaps I need to change structures. Don't go make that decision all willy-nilly, and don't make that decision on your own. Go and consult with somebody. Go hire a CPA, go hire a tax professional, because like I said, you can find evidence to support anything that you want to. You can find evidence to support that having an S Corp is going to save you on taxes. But what that same piece of information may not tell you is how much you're going to have to pay to your state, and you have to make a decision as to whether or not that's going to be the best thing for you. I have a client who's a perfect candidate for an S Corp, but you know what? She says, I don't want to fool with all of that. I don't want to fool with employment taxes and having somebody, issue a W-2 and all that. I don't want to do all that. So she doesn't, and that's her choice. But on the other hand, I have people who are like, oh, okay, this is cool because I can pay you to handle this for me, and I can save on taxes, and I'm getting my life. So you have to make the decision as to, which, what's going to be best for you. And so I really want you to understand that. Okay. So please do not go make S Corp elections all willy-nilly. All right. Because if you're in a bad spot and it's not what you want, you have to decide if you're going to rescind that S corporation and not be able to do it again for 5 years, unless you start a whole new business and start over. Okay. All right, you guys. So I think that is it for today. I really hope this helps you out. We're going to be talking about business structures all this week because I really want to clear up some stuff. All right, you guys. So that's it for today's episode of Home Biz Tax Talk. Hold on a second. Pat just chimed in again. There's a form that you can file to claim a different business designation. For example, if you are an LLC, you can elect to be treated as a different business. Yeah, you can file that election. You have to do that when you're an LLC. You have to file the election to be treated as another type of entity, an S Corp or a C Corp. Now, if you're a single member LLC and then you add a member, then, there's some forms, but it's not an election. The election are the S Corp and the C Corp elections. Okay. But like I said, that S Corp, you want to be real careful with that, because if you take it back, it's over. All right. So, all right. So I hope that answers your question. Like I said, we're going to wrap this up. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, my name is Lysandra Everett. We are here Monday through Friday, 9:00-ish. You can tune in here to get your home business tax questions answered. All right. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.